Okay, right here.
I want to talk about playing small. How did you combat that in your life and your path along your journey? Or the question for both of you.
What do you mean when you say playing small?
I mean, when things are scary, when there's an opportunity for something that feels too big, that could it be me? How could this be me? Why? How could I step into this?
Yeah. I'll let you go first on that one.
Well, I have a lot on that.
Yeah, I do
I'm
too.
from a small island. And the philosophy in Ireland, Bono will say this story. When he came to America, and he goes, Americans drive by a house on the hill. And they go, I'm going to be that guy one day, and I'm going to own that house one day. And he says, in Ireland, they drive by, and they see that guy in the house, and they go, I'm going to get that sucker. So if someone was successful, it's because they'd screwed somebody over or worked the government over. So that was the pervasive mindset in the environment I grew up in. And then I'm a small person. My mother put me in school when I was 3. Not because I was gifted. I think I was probably pretty hyper. And she was like, I'm getting him out of the house. So I played ball. I won a national championship in high school and everything else. I was 16 years of age. My best friend thought I was 2 years older than I was. So I lied about my age my whole life. Because if people knew how young and small I was, they'd kill me, right? And Dublin was a very tough town growing up. And I actually became the enforcer. So when I played on my soccer team, I was the enforcer. I was the guy, the coach. Here was our coach. Imagine this, I'm playing soccer, and my coach would come on the sideline, buffer, which is like announces to the world that I'm going to take somebody out, which means I'm going to get taken out first, by the way. Thank you for that bullhorn. So I was small, I was young, and I'm in an environment of fighting to start with. So I had that built into me. So I had to fight against every instinct in my body to not play small. I went to a seminar when I was in real estate, and I learned how to set a goal. His name was Lou Tice, and he was from the Pacific Institute, a brilliant man. If you ever have a chance to look him up. I later became a friend, spoke at our seminar. And Lou Tice taught me how to set goals. And I set 19 goals at a seminar. And I came home and shared those goals with my wife. And it was like biting into filet mignon the first time in your life. And you were growing up on Spam. And it's like, holy moly. I learned about setting goals. I learned about pursuing goals. I learned about achieving goals. And then everything it took and all the resources and things you had to learn and grow to do that. And I became a voracious goal setter for the rest of my life. Now I'm the guy that's taught more people goal setting than anybody in the world, where I've actually set down 4 million people in an environment, play soft, classical, Baroque style music to create this state of flow for people. But I did it because it's been so transformative in my own life. Now, even with that, I've had spells when it's been dry, and I sat there and there's a blank piece of paper and nothing's doing it for me. But that is how you play small. Don't play small. And then I'd say the second thing is associations. You really want to be an eagle, you got to hang out with some eagles. And even if you're a little duckling, it doesn't matter. You get to hang out with an eagle and you go, oh, that's what an eagle does. Mm-hmm. And it does 2 things. On one hand, it makes you've met, how many famous people have you met? And you go, they're brilliant. They're ordinary.
Yeah, that's right.
And you go, I see where they're brilliant, but I see where they're common. And all of a sudden you go, hang on a second here. I can put my shoes on too. So setting goals, raising your associations, and then third would be getting a community of people who want to grow with you. Being on board with people who want to grow. Let's is one of the greatest words.
Oh,
let's.
So good.
Let's go climb this mountain. Let's go do a half marathon. Let's go build a business. Let's go, and so those are great things. So set some goals for sure. Get a community for sure.
It reminds me, I was 33, 34, and felt like broadcasting was the thing for me. And I'd never done it, never gone to school for it. And I had some people in my life that thought it was a little crazy. It was a little too late. And I'll never forget, I had been doing some stuff in Atlanta at the ESPN affiliate. and got on the air by accident. And the program director found out about it, called me his office, said, you can't do that anymore. And he said, listen, I don't know why you're doing this. Hanging out 3 days a week. He said, you don't have the talent. Somebody's got to tell you. You don't have the talent to make it in a top 10 radio market. And I was consumed with doubt in the days that followed. So I'm going to take you back to that. There's two things when I feel small. I ask two questions. I'll give it to everybody. The first one is, do I believe that I can actually do this? This thing that I'm doubting, do I believe that I can do it? Even if nobody else does, do I believe? And then this is the second question and the most important. Is it worth going for it even if I don't pull it off? And now there's two things that are happening there. One, you're doing the ultimate gut check. You got to silence everybody else, take all the feedback, and then at some point sit with yourself and go, I'm the one that wants to do this. Do I think I can do it? And then so that's the belief part. But that second part is, am I willing to be wrong? And I think every time you're threatened with what you're talking about is doubt. That's all you're talking about. Imposter syndrome is the new popular phrase.
Right.
Drives me nuts. By the way, number one, you're not an imposter. That means you're fake. And it's not a disease. And so I think that's what I would give you.
You've had to answer that over and over again, right?
Oh, yeah.
Same question.
That's the first time that I really had to confront doubt.
right.
Because I was full of confidence prior to that.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Just didn't know.
Oh, I was the kid that always thought I could do whatever I wanted to do.
right.
So hope that helps you. Okay, let's go to another question back here.
Okay, Brian, I'm curious if there's a decision that you made early on that people really questioned you about and didn't understand that really played a role in your success.
Ooh,
Wow. She's lying in the weeds for me, isn't she?
that's a good one.
All right. And I'll tell you people who loved and cared for me. And the people who love and care for you the most will question decisions. You want them to question decisions. So when I first got into real estate, my dad's a lifelong house painter. And he goes, what are you doing? What are you doing? The only time you've been in a house like that was to paint the furniture and to paint the walls. What are you doing? You don't know anything about houses. And he was right. I didn't know anything about houses, but I learned. And so that was my dad. I was 19 years old, a broke immigrant. My dad's and I would call home once every 3 months. There's no Skype, there's no Zoom, and it costs a lot of money to make a phone call. And I get, that's one of my calls for the 3 months. And I'm all excited and I'm fired up and I'm enthusiastic and I believe I'm going to be good at this. And I have no money and I'm going to take a big bet on myself. And one of my most important influences says, what are you doing? You don't know what you're doing. And
Let me ask you really quick there.
Yeah.
What can you recall that did to you emotionally?
I mean, initially it floored me. But the beautiful thing about being Irish is you kind of have your middle finger extended on your forehead every hour of the day. And so
Okay.
it's like, I'm going to show you.
All right, so let me ask this for our audience.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep you on track, but I got to ask, why is that an Irish thing, or is that you just poking fun? Is that really a thing?
It hits other cultures too. But the Irish are known for, here's the thing.
Why?
There's 5 million people. We're on an island. We were oppressed for 800 years. I mean, do you know why Irish dancing is with the arms down? Do you know what that is?
No.
So there was a thing called the penal laws. I'm explaining this to my kids last week when I was home in Ireland. So to be in polite society, the English passed these laws. So Catholics couldn't own a house, couldn't own a horse, couldn't own a firearm, they basically sharecroppers. And they couldn't dance above the waist. And that meant, polite society meant you did these Elizabethan dances.
Sure, yeah.
So it meant you couldn't be part of polite society. You would always be able, because you're white and they're white. And so you can't, there's no race, there's no religion, we're able to identify you're Catholic, so you can't dance. So what did the Irish do? They formed the most aggressive form of dancing in the history of mankind, where the arms are doing, right? And everybody loves river dance. Get the Irish, so lovely.
Right.
That's so amazing.
That's great.
And so we watch them, we're like,
I like that. That's rebellious innovation there.
yes. So we have a bit of that. So
Okay.
there is definitely the spirit of that. But I faced it. So I go on to become one of the top realtors in the United States. And
Let me ask another
Go ahead,
question.
Sorry.
No, this is great. Because we left off with you saying, all right, I gave Dad the metaphorical middle finger, and then you go on and you've been wildly successful. How much did your dad's cynicism, for lack of a better word, drive you?
So here's the danger. It's okay to start you. It's not okay to keep you.
Exactly.
Because people who stay there will always self-destruct. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm actually being disrespectful to my father. I'm actually not, I really don't believe it. So you can just like somebody can get ticked off and start a goal. It's okay. That's okay. You just can't stay there. So you can have those negative forces be an initiator, like a spark plug, get the car going. But that you have to grow past that or you will self-sabotage. And I've seen that so many times in our coaching business where people get a great start. They have all kinds of talent and they constantly loop themselves. Because, and by the way, what's often hard is they're trying to prove a dead relative wrong. Or they're trying to get approval from someone who's passed. Or a teacher that they met one time. A comment they met one time.
Yeah.
And so I had to grow past that. And I faced it again. So 9 years later, I'm one of the top agents in the country. And they would ask me at these conventions to go speak. And I would share what I was doing. And it was so different than what people were doing at the time. Because it was call, door knock, find them, fleece them, and forget them. Was the number one trainer in real estate. And I'm talking about, I got 7 biblical principles, love your customers, exceed their expectations, become their best friends. And I would share this stuff at these conventions, and there would literally be a line out the door. So this happened like 6 or 7 times. I go, there's something here. And then my bride came and saw me speak. She goes, you need to do this. So when I went to go start my coaching and training business, I get a phone call. What are you doing? You're one of the greatest realtors in America. You're fantastic. What do you know about speaking? I've heard speakers, they end up having 3 marriages and their family is a disaster and their kids are drunks and this and that. All of that's true. What are you doing? Now, I'll get to the end of the story. My dad's 95. My dad, at 64, my mother calls me and says, your dad's up on a ladder, 30-mile-an-hour winds, 30 degrees, and he's 64 years old. And I call that night. I go, Dad, you're done. You're fired. No more pain. You're done. I got you. I've been preparing for this day for a long time. My dad, my mom, lived the life of Riley the last 30 years and never worked another day in his life. About 3 years ago. So it takes a while. He was 91. And I went to visit him and he goes, Brian, I'm glad you never listened to a word I told you.
Oh, that's great.